A couple of years ago, it became very, very clear that the vetting process for like Reform UK candidates from MPs to, well, councillors was not very good. And of course, Farage went on this big song and dance prior, of course, the local election, that the reform vetting process had been improved, that it had been robust, that they got the best company in the world to vet their potential candidates. I know I can't keep a straight face while saying that because I know that I've covered all this ridiculousness. We've seen a lot of the stuff that these reform people have said. And what's even more funny very recently is that reform down in Kent have just kicked someone out for something that they did prior to becoming a councillor. Now, remember that because that is going to become a very, very important point later on. So just stick a pin in that for when that comes up later on in the video. But this whole thing about the vetting process that has become so much more better that none of these people would possibly get through, and don't worry, they'll be robust in dealing with these people. Well, what do you think's only gone and happened? This has been something that has been bubbling away this week as well, but as I've said before, sometimes other things happen in Reform UK that I feel like I've got to sort of cover that first. Because the Kent chaos continues on, as we've seen this week. Other things have been happening as well. I do want to cover other stuff besides Reform UK. I really do, but it's just I did not expect, as I've said since May, for them to be this bad. So let's get on into today's little reform escapade that they've now happened to do down in Staffordshire. So before we do go getting on into that, please, of course, do remember, as always, to click on the like, share, and of course, subscribe button down below if you are not subscribed. Don't forget to ring the bell as well so you get notifications of when we go live. The links down below, the Patreon page, the Buy Me Coffee link, where you can well buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, as always, there is the YouTube membership down below as well. This QR code up here will take you straight, of course, to the Patreon page as well. So thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel. And of course, as always, let's crack on then into today's topic. So, leaked emails show Reform UK led council backing one of their own after disgusting comments about minority groups online. And it is not just this council, because just before recording this video, it has come out, Nigel Farage also backing this as well. Also, this guy has been banned from the local parish council meetings. So good on that parish council for like saying, yeah, these comments are so out of line, we don't even want him coming to our local councils. And I'm also willing to bet this guy, as we have seen, probably hasn't even been to a parish council meeting. So let's get on into this then, shall we? So, a Staffordshire County councillor who made comments too offensive to repeat, and I will agree with the article on that one, is now facing calls that he must now resign or be sacked after posting a slew of offensive comments about minority groups. Councillor Peter Mason, who serves in the authority's cabinet, wrote posts back in 2023 and early 2024 containing derogatory comments towards multiple groups, including attacks on gay and trans people, what a surprise, Muslims, again, what a surprise, and referring to UK police as, quote, a bunch of politically indoctrinated British-hating scum who paint rainbows and dance around like fairies. What a pleasant individual. Gets even worse, because on the 16th of March, Mason then replied to a post about a statue of a black woman with, quote, "What a surprise, a statue of a fat," I don't even know what they're bleeping, black woman. It gets even more into this, because then they're going to say he also, because they ain't finished yet, he also interacted with at least one post from Paul Golding, leader of the far-right group Britain First. Why are they not getting rid of this guy? Why are they not getting rid of him? Probably because in Staffordshire, they are a minority administration. They cannot afford to lose a single councillor. This is why. So when all this stuff comes out, as we're going through it as well, the whole reason they cannot get rid of this guy, they are a minority group running Staffordshire. They need every single councillor. This isn't a situation where in Kent, where they have a ever decreasing minority, but they are in the majority still at the moment. If they lose a councillor, then they could potentially lose power of Staffordshire. They could lose control of this council. So even this guy, where he posts such, well, disgusting comments like this, they can't get rid of him. Because if they do, they lose control of the council. And that will not look good for Reform UK. So it gets even more hilarious as well, because LBC can now reveal that when Councillor Marston's posts, Councillor Marston's posts were, of course, then uncovered, instead of condemning his comments, the leader then of the Reform-run council, Ian Cooper, agreed to back his colleague by telling other Reform members in an email, "I don't intend for Peter to resign. We stick together." Because again, they can't afford to get rid of him because they are a minority run administration. They cannot afford to lose a single councillor. That includes keeping guys as bad as this. So Staffordshire, of course, county council leader of the opposition, Conservative councillor Philip White, told LBC that these comments show, quote, "prejudice towards a wide variety of different groups of people in our society, and do not show someone who now is fit to serve the public." Again, I would agree with him. Again, might be a Conservative, but I'll tell you what, I agree with him on that one. As a elected representative, even at this level, you are a representative to elect people to serve all your constituency, regardless if they did or did not vote for you, regardless of whatever their values are. If you have someone doing and posting stuff like this, how do you know he's going to take any issues from those groups seriously if they are brought to him? The Tories, of course, demanded that Mason resign immediately or be sacked by the Reform-led administration if he refuses. Councillor Marston then issued a statement in apology, saying that, quote, "These tweets were made back in 2023 and early 2024, when I was not a member of any political party or elected as a councillor, and during a very difficult time personally. I do regret and apologise for my choice of words." I'm not buying it. I don't think you are either, to be honest. I can see you all rolling your eyes through the camera. Following, of course, Marston's apology, Councillor White said he then approached the council leadership to call then for Marston's removal. But instead now, an internal email was then sent to all Reform councillors outlining how they would defend the councillor and keep him in post. Because again, they cannot afford to lose a single councillor. So it is no surprise that they are now trying to desperately circle the wagons. The email chain seen by LBC appears now to have been sent between the council leader, Ian Cooper, and 4 other Reform UK councillors, but was mistakenly then sent to all members of Staffordshire County Council on the 10th of November. Whoops. Whoops. In the first email, Councillor Cooper writes, "These personal attacks are a deliberate attempt by Reform's political opponents to try and distract from their failings and try to politicize an individual's right to express their personal views and defend each of Marston's controversial posts in detail." My God. How, how on earth? This isn't a free speech issue. This is a guy who is elected to represent everyone in his area. If he's making these comments, how on earth do you know if someone from one of those communities would bring an issue, quite maybe even a serious issue? How do you know he's going to treat that person fairly, with respect, or even hand wave it away and ignore it completely? This is yet again a very clear case where Reform should just go gone, but they can't, because on this council they cannot afford to lose a single one, and it's the same for a number of other councils that they control. We are going to be seeing, I would not be surprised, a lot of issues like this crop up over the years where they are in control of these councils. Yeah, they cannot afford to lose a single one in some of these places. They need every single person on board, and if not, well, then they lose control. Another Reform councillor, it continues, Councillor Tracy Doherty, referred to now calls for Marston's resignation as a, quote, unjustified attack on Peter simply because of the opposing parties are now running scared. Being scared of what? Them making offensive comments online. And of course said, "Peter, you have my full support." Councillor Doherty then sent her email to all members of the council, which now other councillors assumed was, of course, done by mistake, revealing now the chain now of previous messages to all, saying it doesn't, of course, in any way seek now to challenge the things that he said, just sweep them under the carpet, said White. If this is the case, the Reform UK is now a safe place for all these people with these sort of views, or will the party actually start doing something about all these people who are very clearly unfit for public office? A Staffordshire County Council spokesperson said the authority, of course, could not take action because these posts were made before Marston was elected. They said the posts were, of course, made by Councillor Marston before were made back in 2023-24, before his election as county councillor in May of 25. Staffordshire County Council's code of conduct, of course, only applies to actions taken by councillors and therefore does not apply in this case. This matter was, of course, referred to Reform UK for their consideration. They ain't going to let him go. As I always said at the beginning of this video, Farage has already come out and backed him. Not only that, this is a massive case of hypocrisy, because they've just let someone go on Kent for a situation that they did before becoming a councillor, for bringing the party potentially into disrepute. Why does this not bring the party into disrepute as well? Oh, that's right, because they cannot afford to lose a single councillor. Hence, he's staying. So let's finish this off. However, White, of course, now says that Reform's now internal communications have now falsely implied that these posts are, of course, reviewed, and it is very clear under the standards process, rather than they've now been referred to the party. In his attempt now to mislead people into thinking that this is a freedom of speech issue rather than an issue about hate speech, which again, it absolutely is. It's a hate speech issue. This is not a freedom of speech issue. These comments are vile, disgusting. He should have been got rid of. Any other party would have thrown him under a bus, but not here, not Reform, because they need everyone they can on these councils, and especially these minority ones. If they lose people like you've been seeing them losing Kent, that puts them into an even difficult position, potentially even losing their control of those councils. And they cannot afford that. That is why you saw from that earlier email, we are defending him. We stick together. even if he goes and makes on these, these hate speech comments. Anyway, let's finish this off. Councillor White did continue, said if Peter Marston, of course, will not resign, he needs then to be fired from his role as a cabinet member. Reform UK should suspend him and ultimately expel him. And then you've got this other one from another councillor saying, "Dear Ian, thank you for sharing this. I fully support Peter in standing firm against politically motivated attacks. The monitoring officers' findings speak for themselves, and it is very clear that Peter has, quote, acted with integrity throughout. We must not allow personal hardship or past vulnerability to be weaponized now for political gains. Best regards, Pat." Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, Councillor Allen. This is... he should be gone. He should be gone, basically. Any other political party, he'd be gone. But again, they can't afford to lose these people, especially in a place like Staffordshire, where, again, if they got rid of him, threatens their minority administration. So, as always, let me know what you think about all this. If you are from Staffordshire, what do you think about having such a councillor remain in position after these comments have come to light? And of course, as always, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to click on the like and share button. And of course, don't forget to ring the bell so you get notifications about when we drop a new video or when we go live. So as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.